This is handwriting lesson number 1, lines and circles. Today, we're going to begin by noticing how your printing paper is set up. There's a line at the top, which we'll call the top. There's a line at the bottom, which we will call the bottom. And in between are a series of dashes that we'll call the dashed line, or we'll call the middle. You're always going to place your letters inside these lines. Today, we're going to just begin by practicing lines and circles. When we make lines, when we're printing, we always start at the top. There's a little song you can sing, and it goes like this. I always start my letters at the top. I always start my letters at the top. I always start my letters. I always start my letters. I always start my letters at the top. So when you make lines from the top down. Go ahead and get your printing practice paper and start making lines with me. Start at the top and go all the way down to the bottom. You want to make sure your lines touch the top and touch the bottom. We only ever go in one direction. I always start my letters at the top. So go ahead and take your time and make a whole row of tall lines here. Check your paper. Are your lines straight? Did they start at the top and end at the bottom? Now, let's make a series of short lines. When we do short letters and short lines, we start at the dotted line and we go down. So the rule still applies and we can sing our song. I always start my letters at the top. Well, here we could say at the dotted line. You always want to make sure you're going from the top down, pulling downward, like you're falling into the water, splashing down, starting here, going down. So say it to yourself, down, down. Make sure you start at the dotted line, so your pencil or dry erase marker touches the dotted line, and you go to the bottom line. Don't start above and don't go below and get kind of messy. You don't want those. You'll start right at the dotted line and end at the bottom. Go ahead and make a series of short lines on this row. Make sure your lines are straight. Great. We're going to do 2 more types of lines. The next lines we're going to do are going to be diagonal lines. That means we're going to start at the top and we're going to go diagonal to the bottom. A diagonal line goes in this direction. So we're going to go halfway on this line with tall diagonal lines, and then we'll switch. So you're going to start at the top and you're going to kind of go over to the bottom. Diagonal. diagonal line. Start at the top, go over to the bottom. Let's do one more. All right. Now we're going to switch and we're going to do the same diagonal line, but we're going to do it from the dotted line to the bottom. Diagonal, diagonal. Always start at the top. Go down, go down, 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 down. Let's do one more. Good. Okay. The last type of line we're going to do today is another diagonal line, but we're going to go the other direction. We're going to start at the top, but we're going to go diagonal this way. I always start my letters at the top. I always start my letters at the top. Take your time. I'll do one more tall one. Okay. Now we're going to switch to lowercase, to small diagonal lines. Good. Start at the dotted line. Take your time. Go down. Good. When you're printing, you want to print nice and slow. Take your time. There's no rush. Good. All right. Well, we just finished our whole line, our whole page of lines. Excellent work. We're going to continue our lesson now with making some circles. So what I'm going to have you do is erase the lines you made, erase your beautiful lines, and make some space for circles. All right, so now we're going to practice making circles. When we make our circles, we have to pay attention to the same thing as our lines. We will pay attention to the top line, the bottom line, and the dotted line. Our circles are going to stay inside these lines. One of the most important things about circles is that many of our letters start with a circle that goes the same direction. And that circle is going in this direction. Around a clock, it would be called counterclockwise. On your hands, it's called to the left. But we're going to make our circles around in that direction. Just like with our lines, our circles start at the top. So we get our pen, our pencil, our dry erase up here at the top, and we're gonna go around this way. So I always start my letters at the top. Big circles start at the top. They go around to the left. Part of the circle touches the bottom, and then it reconnects back at the top. We don't just start our circles anywhere on our paper for circles that look like this. It's really important to start at the top and go around this way. So get your printing practice ready with me. Put your pencil or dry erase up at the top. Make sure you're pushing to the left. Touch the bottom line and go back up. Good, let's do that again. I always start my letters at the top. Good. You'll really want to take your time with these circles to make sure you're going in the right direction. Let's do one more big one up at the top. Make sure you're going around this way towards all those other circles you made. Back up. Good. Okay. On the next row, we're going to make some lowercase circles, some small circles that start at the dotted line. So put your pencil or dry erase marker at the dotted line. We're going to go in that same direction around. Start at the dotted line. You're going this way to the left, around this way. Touch the dotted line, touch the bottom line, back up. Touch the dotted line, touch the bottom line, back up. Go nice and slow. Finish this row of circles. Dotted line, bottom line, back up. 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 Good. All right. Well, that's the end of our handwriting lesson number 1, lines and circles. Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.